Hello and welcome to Precision's NVivo tutorial. NVivo is the most popular qualitative analysis software. It allows greater depth than Atlas.ti and more flexibility than MAXQDA. Now today I'm going to discuss the basic terms and processes needed to do basic coding for qualitative data analysis. But before we begin, let me mention that we are one of the only academic consulting firms that take on qualitative research from start to finish. We can help you not only with the qualitative analysis that we'll talk about in this tutorial, but also the qualitative methodology that gives rise to this work. Now, if you stumbled here by accident and are doing a quantitative study, then SPSS is your program. And check out our video on quantitative methodology for help tailored to your needs. Now let's dive in and open NVivo to create a project. So if you click the QSR NVivo icon on your desktop, it will open the application. On first launch, the NVivo user dialog box will display. By default, your Windows username is displayed in the name field. You can update the name if you need to. Now, if you are sharing this Windows login with another user, enter your own name and in the initials field, enter your initials. Click OK. Since this is not my first use, I'll just click on the blank project button and the dialog box is displayed. I'll enter a name for the project. In the description field, I can enter a description of my project. Now this can include information on the objectives of the research project. To select where the project will be saved, click the Browse button and select the appropriate folder. Now I like to save my NVivo file with materials for the project altogether. Once you have your folder chosen, you click Save and then click OK. OK, the NVivo window is displayed with the name of your project in the title bar and your user initials in the status bar. Now let's move on to defining user interface terms and space. There are three types of views in the user interface. The first type of view is navigation view. On the left side of the screen, you can navigate your way around your sources. The types of sources will be defined later in this tutorial. And the second type of view is the list view. On the top portion of the workspace screen, click on the View tab. This list allows you to see the list of contents of the sources you click on in navigation view. The third type of view is the detail view. This makes up the center of the screen, extending to the lower right-hand corner. This is where you see the content of your sources and where the coding takes place. In the detail view, you can open multiple tabs of different sources. The tabs are in the top right hand of the detail view screen. And when you are on the Home tab, you should be able to see the navigation view on the left and the detail view, taking up most of your workspace. Now, as you can see, it's already starting to get a little bit tricky. For dissertation help in navigation in this new program, know that we're here. Just call or email. Okay, types of sources. In NVivo, sources is the collective term for your research materials. Anything from handwritten diaries to video recordings of group discussions. Now, after creating a project, you can gather your research data in the following ways. Import internals. These are your primary sources that may include documents in text, .txt, rich text, .rtf, portable document format, .pdf, or Word, .doc format. For example, interview transcripts, emails, literature reviews, and so on. To import the data, click on the Data tab at the top of the workspace. Then, click the type of source or file that you need to import. Once you're in the folder where your materials are, you can gather multiple sources at once, and then click Open, and then click OK. Now your data sources should appear as a list in the center of your workspace. If you want to be sure to keep a particular group of sources separate from others, you can create folders to save the information in. So here I'm going to save group interviews for my qualitative analysis, and then move them over there into the folder. Then you would go back in and get additional sources in the same way. For each source, each folder, you'll need to go through and add all of the sources. Here I have all Word documents, so I was able to highlight those and import them all in groups. Now, if you have to import a PDF, a survey, audio files, you'll have to import each type separately, since NVivo doesn't allow you to import different types of data sources at the same time. This work can be difficult, so know that you can always reach out to us by phone or email for dissertation help as you navigate this rather complicated program. You can also create documents directly in NVivo. You would create documents for files that you can't import, handwritten diaries, books, PowerPoint presentations, and so on. To create an internal document, click on the Create tab at the top of the workspace. You'll be given the option of creating an internal document, a link to an internal document, and audio or video sources, as well as the option of creating a new node, case, or relationship. Click on the type of document you need to create and follow the prompts from there. Now we can move on to the key units for your qualitative analysis. These key units are called nodes, and there are 5 types of nodes. The 2 most commonly used nodes are referred to as free nodes and hierarchical nodes. Free nodes means that all nodes are equally important and there's no hierarchy in the arrangement of the nodes. To create a free node, click in the nodes to the left. Then you right-click and a drop-down list will appear. You click on the new node and then you get a dialog box. So we need to give the node a name. For example, Node 1. And then you can click OK. It will appear in detail view in the center of your screen. The second type of node is hierarchical and is referred to as either a tree node or a parent node. These are used to set your general categories or initial groupings. To create a parent and child node, you repeat the action used to create a free node and then right-click on it to create and name a child node. So, right-click and do Node 2. Okay? Then on the node, right-click that and name the node. Then we have child node 1. You click OK, then you have a parent node and a child node. You can add as many sub or child nodes as needed. On occasion, you might even have subnodes for your child nodes. Now, I'd like to say that if you're having a hard time with any of these initial steps, or the ones that follow, then just give us a call or email us. We're unique among dissertation consulting firms. We provide dissertation help with all sorts of qualitative research and quantitative analysis. Okay, so back to nodes. The other types of nodes used less frequently are number 3, cases, for demographic information. Number 4, relationships, nodes that describe the connection between 2 project items. 5, matrices, a collection of nodes resulting from a matrix coding query. These nodes are used less frequently because they require a higher amount of data and a more complex coding approach. Okay, now we've got the basic lay of the land, we're going to use the coding to simplify the qualitative analysis that comes next. This is where you'll start to work with all the interviews, focus group data, and other documents to assess emerging themes. Simple coding. As a process, coding allows you to gather together all the material related to a topic. NVivo allows both simple and advanced coding methods. And in this tutorial, we'll only cover the 2 most common types of initial coding to get you started on your qualitative analysis. To begin coding, click on Sources on the bottom left-hand navigation window, then double-click the specific source you want to code. I'm going to go to the group interviews, to the first group there, and then it displays in the detail view over here on the right. When you click back on nodes, you can have a view of the nodes that you are using and the source that you are coding. You'll want to adjust the columns to adjust your view, giving more space to the source data. You do this by clicking over here on the grey arrow, and that minimises the navigation view on the left-hand side. Now you can see the nodes you create on the left and your source data on the right. For convenience, you can have multiple source tables open at once in the detail view, like so. There are a few ways to select the source data and move it over into nodes. So let me show you how to do those now. The first way is to left-click and highlight the source data, then drag and drop it into an existing node, like so. Or you can highlight the data text and drag it to the node area, You'll be prompted to enter a name for the node, and it will appear over here as a non-hierarchical node. Finally, you can highlight and right-click the data to see a drop-down menu. You click Code and then enter the title of the new node from there. You click OK after naming and it will appear in the node detail screen. If you open the node by double-clicking, you can see coded content. If you accidentally code text that you don't want to keep coded, you can highlight the selected text, right-click, and go down to choose Uncode for this node. Now, let's briefly look at the two most common types of initial coding, which are called open and NVivo coding. With open coding, you look for units of meaning within the data and code them into broad categories. For example, a technology lesson can be coded by types of content as well as the method of teaching. It's important to do this type of coding at the beginning for two very important reasons. One, it familiarises you with your data, and good qualitative research is gained by deep familiarity with the data. It also makes your thesis or dissertation defence much easier, and we provide help with dissertation defence too. The second reason it is important not to skip this is that it allows you to break down the data into the smallest possible units. And this in turn works to prevent you from coding what you want to see rather than what's there in the participants' words. In other words, it's a barrier to interpretive bias. Now, as you discover new units of meaning, you either code them to existing categories or subnodes, or create a new category, a parent node or subnode. With NVivo coding, you directly code the source data or participants' words. This approach is especially useful for grounded theory, ethnography, and phenomenological research projects because they draw so heavily on the experience and perspectives of the participants. To code NVivo, you highlight the text you want to code, right-click on it, and choose the Code NVivo option. The text will appear on the left in a non-hierarchical node. To move the NVivo text into an existing node, click on the coded node and drag it to the desired category or child node. When you click on the node plus sign, it will display the coded material. And that covers the basic first round of coding. Of course, most qualitative analysis coding works through at least 3 rounds of coding to sift the data into final categories and themes. Now that you're familiar with sources, nodes and initial coding steps, you can begin to explore other features like querying your data, creating charts, running reports, and exporting data. So to query your data, you can either click the Query tab at the top of the workspace or Queries in the bottom left hand of the navigation view. The two most common queries are coding queries and word frequency queries. A coding query gathers content based on how it was coded. In the Query tab, click Coding option, and a window will appear in Detail View. You can choose all sources or selected items for where you want the query to search. You can choose all selected nodes, any selected node, any case where, to further narrow the search terms. A word frequency query lists words and the number of times they occur in selected items. Seeing which words appear most frequently can help you to identify themes and concepts. In the Query tab, click the Word Frequency option and a window will appear in Detail View. You can choose all sources or selected items for where you want the query to search. You can choose the number of words to be displayed, for example, the 1,000 or 100 most frequently used words. Click Run Query. Your results will appear here in Detail View. You can choose to save the query to the project or exit out of it without saving. Two advanced types of queries are matrix coding queries and compound queries. Though we don't cover these in this tutorial, it's good to know that they exist and just what their purpose is. Matrix coding query creates a matrix of nodes based on search criteria, for example, showing attitudes about volunteering by age group. And compound query combines text and coding queries, and you can search for specified text in or near coded content. Now, I should mention that many qualitative research projects do become a lot easier using these tools, so do please call us. We'll provide timely dissertation help to help you get through the difficult parts. Moving on now to creating simple charts. There are multiple ways that NVivo can display data from your qualitative analysis in chart form. In the Explore tab, select the chart you want to create and click on it. You'll be prompted to enter information on the data you want visualised. Select the data you want to chart in the options provided, and these options will change depending on the chart you want to generate. Here I will show you the easy options for a hierarchy chart. You can create a hierarchy chart for specific nodes or for the whole project. To create a hierarchy chart for specific nodes or subnodes, click the relevant nodes, right-click, and from the drop-down menu, the Visualize Data option. Now you should see the results in Detail View. To do the same chart for the whole project, you would go to the Explore tab, click on the Hierarchy chart, and as I'm doing here, follow the prompts. The results again appear in Detail View. Now let's cover running reports. In the Explore tab, you can also run different types of reports: project summaries, source summaries, node summaries, relationship summaries, and attribute summaries. A project summary is a list of the project status in terms of the items it contains. Now, this can be useful for communicating or recording the overall progress of your qualitative analysis project. A source summary is a list of the sources in the project, including the number of nodes that code them. It also contains information about paragraph and word length. A node summary is a list of the nodes in the project, including the number of sources coded at each node. And this can help you to see which themes or ideas are occurring more than others. A relationship summary is a list of relationships organised by relationship type. This gives you an indication of how much coding has been done for each relationship type. And an attribute summary is a list of attributes and the number of cases assigned to each attribute value. This is a useful way of checking for consistency and balance in the project sample. These reports can be really helpful if you're conducting a mixed method study, and see the tutorial for more information. Now, to run a report, at the top left of the Explore tab, click on New Report and choose Report Wizard. Choose from the presented options at each step, a total of 8, in the Report Wizard. Select the data you want to report on in the options provided. These options will change depending on the report you want to generate. Now that you have all of your data coded and charted, you will need to know how to export all of your hard work. Now, with most of the functions in NVivo, there are multiple ways to export your qualitative research results. Now, one of the ways that I find most useful is to share my coded data with others. And this is through exporting the coded nodes as Word.doc files. To do this, you click on the Data tab at the top of the workspace, then select the nodes or subnodes that you want to export by clicking the exact items symbol up here. A menu will open prompting you for how you want the information exported, and you can choose to export the entire content in HTML or web format, in reference view or summary view. Each view type uses different file types. To export the nodes in Word.doc, you choose Reference View, Word Doc, then select where you want the files to be saved by clicking Browse and OK. The other way to export data that I find useful is by exporting your codebook. This contains a list of your nodes and any descriptions you created for them. To use this function, you click on the Data tab, click Codebook, browse to select Saved Location, and click the box here if you want the number of sources and references included in the codebook. Click OK. And there you have it, all the basic functions of NVivo. And to recap, we've gone over how to open and save your project, how to import your data, what different types of nodes are, and how to set them up, the basic types of open and NVivo coding, how to query, create charts, run reports on your analysed data, and export your results. Phew, Right, that's a lot of steps, but thanks for following along. I know that I've shared a lot to help unpack this part of the dissertation for you, but you might still have some questions. So please know that we're here to provide the dissertation help that you need as you navigate both a new programme and a new process. We can help you with qualitative analysis, and we can also take on all the revisions to approval for you. So thanks once again for watching.